Last Epoch killed Diablo 4 by Sammy Caps. Very interesting. Let's see.
It's blatantly obvious that D4 is at its lowest point ever. Literally rock bottom, if you ask me. You don't have to look any further than the number.
You know what's my favorite part about Diablo 4 being at rock bottom? That it somehow magically manages to achieve rock bottom every couple of months, multiple times. Most games hit rock bottom once. Diablo 4 has hit it at least 20 times at this point. Every major update, every campfire that the devs make, it is very, very clear that rock bottom is getting hit again.
Of players playing the game today, it's almost non-existent. So in this video, I want to talk about the real reason why players are leaving Diablo 4. I think you're going to find it interesting. I hope you'll stick around and join me. We'll see you on the other side. Now, before we get into why I believe players left Diablo 4, we need to set up the scene to what led up to this happening. So, we all know Season 3 was marketed and promoted as the season of the leaderboard / gauntlet.
Which is probably, arguably, the most stupidest thing that Blizzard could have done. But then again, if they didn't do it, and that wasn't the stupidest thing, would that really be Blizzard at this point? If Blizzard doesn't do bad, is it really Blizzard at this point? I think no. If Blizzard does something good, it's not Blizzard doing it.
It was a major talking point in BlizzCon 2023. Actually, the only thing when Season 3 was mentioned in BlizzCon.
Oh, godlike, the destroyers there. Wowie woo. Man, those chairs must be like adamantium or something. Oh!
Season 3 was mentioned in BlizzCon 2023. The only thing they talked about, or highlighted, was the leaderboard gauntlet. Now, Season 3 was going to come to fruition on January 23rd. And when we got closer to that date, we all learned that the leaderboard gauntlet feature in Season 3, the main theme of Season 3, as it was promoted, was not going to come on January 23rd.
Oh no! The thing that no one cared about, that the developers decided to make the whole damn season about, is gonna not be here on time. What will we do? I honestly, since the Gauntlet released, the Gauntlet probably got roughly 5 people back in playing the game. The Gauntlet is just that stupid of an update. No one cares about the Gauntlet. It's like in the previous season, Season 2, the midwinter solstice thing where you could do stuff. Like no one cares. No one cares. Diablo 4 is just a new season releases, and then we get into a cycle. It's shit in the first 5 minutes of gameplay, as you can understand. The season mechanic is undertuned or overtuned. And the next week that people give it 3 hours of a chance to enthrall them, nothing happens. The developers make changes that literally no one cares about. Then in the next couple of weeks, they fix issues that should have not even been in the base game, but for some reason are in the season. And, stuff like this. And then a month passes and no one has any interest left because the game's just bad, the game's just sad, and the game's just dead. And now nothing can be done to recuperate the player numbers except releasing a new season. It's like the developers are just so slow, so bad, and so out of touch. Nothing can be done to save Diablo 4 when the season hits. But I enjoy watching them hitting rock bottom every single time, over and over and over and over again.
And
by the way, my current prediction for Diablo 4 in general is that the devs are gonna make completely everything irrelevant except item level 925 and ultra mythics. ultra rares or whatever you want to call them, they're gonna slowly make absolutely everything before that irrelevant. Acquisition of them irrelevant, drop rate irrelevant. Everyone's just gonna get it. Because that's how Blizzard does it. There's no middle ground. There's just extremes for everything they do. So this is gonna happen.
What we were told was they wanted to get it right, so they were gonna take their time, just fine tuning it because they wanted to get it right. So it was gonna come soon after the launch of season 3 on January 23rd. Well, January 23rd came, February came, and we weren't getting any information in reference to the leaderboards. And of course, that led to a lot of upset players in Diablo 4 and a lot of discussion around whether it should have been dropped on January 23rd and why it's being delayed and all this kind of discussion. So, erosion, basically, and a lot of negativity around the topic. Anyway, fast forward, and eventually leaderboards gauntlets was announced and dropped
Yay!
on March 5th.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone was super ecstatic and happy about that happening. I'm sure of it.
Now, January 23rd, season 3 drops. March 5th, the leaderboards actually comes live. During this misstep, in enters 11th Hour Games and the release of Last Epoch 1.0 on February
Beautiful.
21st. So while D4 players who are excited and anxious about trying leaderboards in between this time frame, launch of season 3 January 23rd and the launch of leaderboards, which was on March 5th, Last Epoch drops 1.0 on February 21st.
Yep.
And this is where things kind of derailed for Diablo 4. And
I mean, we haven't heard his reasoning just yet, but I don't think this is true in general, okay?
I'll explain.
I don't think this is true in general because Diablo 4 was already doing sadly poorly and everything like that, and people were hyped for Last Epoch, and then we got the Last Epoch and everyone was happy, except for the part about the server issues. That's pretty much it. And, well, a gauntlet, a technically competitive mode for a extremely, they themselves have said, casual game is not really a good fit in general. Again, I loved when someone commented and highlighted this problem that the gauntlet inherently is a competitive mode and a try-hard mode for people who want to try really hard in a game that has no good endgame currently, and that is, a casual game where people are not supposed to do that. So the big update, by just definition, cannot succeed because it targets no one from the core audience. It targets like the 0.01%ers, and even they aren't really playing. Think about it. Dark Microtransactions is not looking at this at Gauntlet currently. Not a lot of people are, because it's like the Gauntlet changes nothing. The Gauntlet will fail.
And why? Players found, while players were waiting for the leaderboards to come on March 5th, players found another option. And that other option was Last Epoch on February 21st, sorry. Now, not all Diablo 4 players tried it, but I would argue that a lot of Diablo 4 players dipped their toes in the water and tried Last Epoch. It's not an expensive game, $35. So a lot of players dipped their toes and tried the game. And I would argue that decision for some of the Diablo 4 players to test the waters with LE, a lot of them did not return and are not returning because they enjoyed playing the game. Diablo 4 players have seen and now
I think a lot of people are gonna return, obviously, to Diablo 4 when Season 4 comes out, because you already have the game, you will probably have already played all of Last Epoch that you want, or Path of Exile, and people are just gonna have this rotation, right? This was the most obvious solution to the situation. People are gonna have a rotation between the three games. They're gonna play Path of Exile when Path of Exile new season releases. They're gonna play that for a week, 2, 3, or 4 weeks or a month, and then they're gonna either continue doing it or switch to another game that they're interested in. When Last Epoch is gonna have a season, people are gonna play that for a week, 2, 3, 4, a month, or however long. And when Diablo 4 has a season, people are gonna play it roughly for 20 minutes and then never log in back again because it's clearly shit. People are gonna come back to Diablo 4, but instantaneously abandon it as it has happened for all this time now. People just inherently are not capable of playing Diablo 4 for a long time because currently every content creator is also talking about, oh, Diablo 4 has no late game. Bro, what do you mean Diablo 4 has no late game? Most people can't even get to the late game because so many parts of the game feel irrelevant. Again, first you need to get to World Tier 3. Before World Tier 3, you're not going to use any kind of consumables, any upgrades, anything, because that's a waste. Then you get to World Tier 3. Then you get the item upgrades, right? Then you slowly get the aspects and everything, then you get World Tier 4. Midway World Tier 3, you no longer also again spend any consumables or everything because your goal is to get to World Tier 4. And at World Tier 4, you can finally start spending your currencies, consumables, and all of that good stuff, right? You get the new gear upgrade, and then what do you need to do? You need to get technically level 100? But doing that is so painfully slow and unrewarding. The dungeon experience for glyphs seems completely just jackass shit. Okay? The dungeons themselves, when vaults disappear, are gonna be completely non-interesting because they're super poorly designed and whatnot. Man, the problems just don't end, honestly.
experience that there are better options out there. The grass is greener on the other side, dare I say. Also, LE delivers on so many issues that ARPG players look forward to. So let's look into those features. First of all, LE is fun to play. LE is easy enough.
Why is he saying LE? LE. LE. Huh. Okay, oh, I get it. LE. It's just too close to the name Ellie. So, LE, what's the difference between Ellie and Ellie? I don't know. So, yeah.
For a casual player to pick up, yet detail enough for a hardcore player to immerse their time into.
Yep.
It addresses the needs of a wide variety of the player base, whether you're casual.
That is an understatement, okay? Last Epoch addresses the needs that no one knew even existed or needed to be addressed. Last Epoch, even if it would magically just fail overnight, has shown the light to the way forward of these kind of games. Because they have literally innovated and made better systems that no one knew even needed to be improved. So there you kind of go.
Well,
probably one of the biggest ones is trading, because trading's just, no one even knew that trading can be improved this much.
For hardcore. LE made a lot of improvements to its game with the release of 1.0. Let's discuss those. First of all, they improved the graphics of the game.
True.
The graphics are a lot crisper prior to what they were with 1.0. They have a campaign that is good as D4's. They have crafting, trading,
I don't know about the campaign part, though. I don't know what's happening in the Last Epoch campaign. But then again, on the flip side, nor do I know what's honestly happening in Diablo 4. All I know is that there's some kind of girl with a pan on her backpack whose mom I killed because lol haha funny reasons, and then she can't fuck off from me, and I don't like her, and that's kind of the story. And then she steals Mephisto's soul gem, and I don't care.
they have an offline mode. There's 5 classes, 15 masteries, over 120 skills.
Also, again, the best part about these masteries, it's beautiful. It truly is beautiful because every one of these masteries is unique and feels special. Ah, this is the perfect class fantasy.
Skills, which allows players to control, alter, and empower their playstyle. Don't even get me started on the quality of life features and LE. It provides endless stash tabs, which are not controlled by the developer.
Well, actually, it's 200 something splash tabs. Yeah, it's enough stat tabs to blast you forever.
Like Diablo 4, you control how many stash tabs you have, and they're easily attainable.
Are you telling me that Last Epoch some magically how overcame the technological need, fundamental right to load everyone else's stash tabs like in Diablo 4? Are you telling me I do not need to load everyone's stash tab? That's crazy. That's impossible.
Because the way to get stash tabs in LE is via the in-game currency gold. So you can elect to add more stash tabs simply by just purchasing them. The sorting system in the inventory, second to none.
Yeah, it's pretty
There's
good.
a search functionality in the stash.
Also,
even the crafting materials that you earn while you're out and grinding, one click removes them all from your character's inventory. And dare I say, Last Epoch has a loot filter. Yep.
Built in.
Right off the start, there's a loot filter in LE. And it's very easy to create one on your own. So it's easy to learn and easy to manage. And lastly, one of the more important features of any good ARPG is the loot. And in LE, the loot shines in spades. Not only in...
Look at this play style. I mean, just look at it.
One of the more important features of any good ARPG,
look, bam,
is the loot. And in LE, the loot shines.
Tell me this does not look amazing.
In spades.
Because it does.
Not only in the variety.
Tell me this does not just absolutely make you want to play the game.
Of loot, but how loot item.
It just looks so good.
Itemization work.
And that is every skill.
In LE.
Boom, baby, boom.
The itemization is amazing in this game in its own right, but when you couple that with the crafting, you truly get an immersive experience with being able to completely customize your experience. In Last Epoch, loot matters.
Yep.
You see, players are not going back to D4 because they see the grass is greener with Last Epoch.
True.
D4 players now are beginning.
Man, I'm still though pissed because Last Epoch does need to improve the graphics. If they just push the graphics a little bit more and some skills just a little bit more better looking, Last Epoch could dominate everything.
To see that a game can have all these features that a real ARPG should have.
True.
The items D4 players want in a game can be in a game.
Well, they're adding them season 4, baby. That's gonna be the loot patch. But can we have a loot filter before that? No. No. In fact, banning your account now for saying heretical things. By the way, some people are saying, oh, Diablo 4 developers couldn't add a loot filter because, well, when they redesign the loot, it's going to be pointless. Bro, I'm not a programmer. I look at computers as black magic, unironically. And yet, even I understand that making a loot filter that just references already existing loot data is not gonna break the system when you redesign loot, because it's still gonna reference to the new loot. So a loot filter is possible to make. It's just the Diablo 4 devs probably don't understand how to make a loot filter that doesn't highlight every person you see in the world, because it also needs to obviously apply to other players or something. And it needs to load their stash tabs and home addresses and whatnot also. So, yeah, I imagine.
No matter how much Activision Blizzard King tells them it's complicated, we need time to get it right.
Yeah, the problem with gamers, well, it's not actually a problem. This is what I have been advocating for a very long time, is the fact that as gamers, we do not care about any problems that you as a developer ever have. If you need new technologies to make this thing that we want happen, then it's not my problem. Make the new technologies, steal the new technologies, buy the new technologies. I do not care. Do you need to make people work 24 hours to make it happen? Good. I don't care. Just make it happen. I'm a consumer. It's not my job to think about the game in terms of, I wonder can the engine handle this? I don't give a shit. Okay? It's very simple.
Truth is, it's not that complicated. Now, when leaderboards dropped on March 5th,
no one cared.
I have to say, I did call out and say that it was going to be a huge L.
Yeah, obviously. One of the reasons the leaderboards also is going to be a huge L a week from now is because then you're going to see the first rewards. And you need to understand, for something like that, leaderboards, for the rewards to not be absolute dog shit in every way possible is impossible. Because think about this. How do you balance the rewards that you get for the ladder board? It's impossible. Because this is what's going to happen. So, there are options. What do? Drop uniques, super rares, or what do you want to do? Drop just normal items, or how it's going to be? What is going to be the reward? Well, if you pick just basic items, basic rares, or a mix of these things, or a potential mix of these things, no one's going to be happy. Why? Because if the gauntlet rewards rares, aka yellow items, you know, the ones that have the best stats and whatnot, how many items do you think the gauntlet should reward? It probably needs to reward literally 200 or 300 items after a week. Trying for a week to get an X score, the reward for that needs to be absolutely massive. Because if your reward for a week's worth of content is literally 10 yellow items, people are going to be pissed. Because the chances are, in 100 yellow items that you currently find in Diablo 4, maybe one of them is slightly useful but still kind of garbage. So that is a problem. So the reward needs to be literally in the hundreds of rewards for yellow items. Okay, let's not do rares in that case. How about uniques? Well, if it's uniques, then it needs to be all the uniques. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. But if it's all the uniques, then what does it matter? But why do uniques even matter in that case? Okay, so it can't be the uniques because of that. How about uber uniques? Uber uniques? Do I get all the Uber uniques for doing a week of Gauntlet? Because if not, then Duriel is just faster and the reward of the Gauntlet is pointless. You see, when the first week strikes and the reward of the Gauntlet is set, it's gonna be a shit show because there is absolutely no way to create a reward that actually is unique enough and feels good enough for anyone who actually puts even minor effort in participating in it to gain maximum reward without being on the leaderboard. The Gauntlet, just because of that, cannot succeed in general.
For Diablo 4. But to my surprise, it was worse than even I predicted. And let me elaborate on that a little bit. You see, when leaderboards was dropped on March 5th, top content creators didn't play it. Now, not all of them, but a good chunk of the Diablo 4 content creators elected not to try the leaderboard. And also, I have to say the fanfare around the gauntlet, lackluster at best. And fast forward to today, it hasn't gotten any better. All you have to do is look at the numbers. All you have to do is look at the amount of people playing Diablo 4 right now. Heck, if you go online and you check Reddit and you check X and you look at the feedback and the reaction so far to what players are experiencing, what they think about the leaderboards.
They're experiencing nothing. They're experiencing absolutely nothing. And the people who are experiencing so Diablo also has this uniquely stupid problem now. It's essentially the problem Diablo 3 had and why it turned into a shitfest later on. So game comes out, game is bad. All of the majority of the people left. The only people left now are the people who are mostly invested into the game. And the people who are invested into a shit game, by definition, will never have any kind of feedback that actually matters for normal people, okay? Because if you're playing an objectively shit game, if you're eating shit and you like it, that doesn't mean it's good. It's still shit. You just like it for some stupid reason. And no one can relate to that. No one can understand it. And when you ask for sprinkles on top of it, well, yeah, you're kind of making it better, but you're making it better for yourself in a way that no one else finds reasonable. So, at this point, it's actually too late to listen to the feedback from the player base of the Diablo 4 game, because this player base is insane and does not represent any chance for Diablo 4 to actually have a recovery. And if the developers now start listening to the feedback of players, they're gonna listen to people who are gonna actively make this game even more of a disgusting failure. That's what's gonna happen. That is how it is. That is how it always goes. And it's really funny, especially considering the fact that, that when Diablo 4 came out and criticism was given and constructive feedback was given, it was all the same shit, okay? It was all the same. Everyone in a choir just yelled exactly one giant thing. And they didn't listen. They completely did not listen to a single thing that people said. Everyone was saying the exact same things. One by one. The exact same things. But they didn't care. And now they're gonna listen to people who are left, to the people who are literally could be considered mentally unwell. Well, good luck. I think that's just a death spiral, honestly, for Diablo 4 at this point. Anyway, that was Sammy Caps. Good stuff, interesting stuff. And this was Kuzer Sensei. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye bye.